Okay, we are in the process of letting everyone in. Everybody's we are, just so you know, we are recording this portion of the meeting, and I'm gonna pin me right now.
And we'll stop recording later
Right.
when we go to the show and tell.
Right.
So that it'll only be us that's recorded.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Miss Babs. This is Lynn Everett. And Lynn has been working with us for full-time over a little over a year, and off part-time, whatever, for
A while.
a long time.
Many years.
Yeah. And Helen, who many of you have talked to on the phone, is over hiding.
Hello.
So,
I'm on the chat and just keeping an eye on things here.
and she often will drop things into the chat and give links and that sort of thing. This is our February installment. We're at the beginning of the year, but we're also sort of like, it's the 16th. How is this the third Thursday?
Already.
But so here it is, and third Thursday at 3. We checked in January on the third Thursday. Since then, we have been very busy doing lots of different things, including dyeing and packing for Stitches West. And
it's official. All our boxes are on their way.
Right.
So we will meet up with them at March 2nd is when Stitches West actually opens, but we'll meet up with them before then.
Right. So the yarn is on its way and will be opened up there.
Yep.
And we actually did a good job of getting everything into the boxes. There have been some years where I've been dyeing down to the last week and, shipping stuff out, and it makes for crazy making.
But I will say everybody on our entire team really, really pitched in to make this work well. I mean, everybody, every single person here, while you were out for a little while.
Right.
And that, Ivy did, the dyeing team just like really killed it, got lots of stuff done, and closed up the last box this morning and off they went.
Yep.
So I just wanted to say a public thank you to everybody on the team.
Yeah. I had to be out for 2 weeks in the middle of everything. And so I'm back in, but not lifting anything. So for most of you, you will understand that that's probably some kind of, as the anesthesiologist said, you have a feminine surgery. I'm like, okay, whatever.
It's better than a hysterical surgery.
So anyway, in addition, we have been putting together yarn colors. We've been getting ready for knit alongs, and one especially that we've been getting ready for is Mary Annarella's Ghostbusters, Who You Gonna Shawl. And we have Mary with us. Here she is, and she's available to tell us about what's going on and how to get ready for this. So
thanks, Babs.
Yeah.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you, Lynn, and everybody. Is as they know, it's a lot of work to get a mystery knit along put together. I mean, there's the designing of it, there's the writing of it, and there's also, selecting colors for different kits, because we don't want everybody knitting the same colors, and everybody has different color preferences. So the Babs team spent a lot of time just creating color kits of 4 different colors, you know, some representing a different character in the movie. And I picked the movie Ghostbusters as a theme because it was one of my favorites back in the 80s. My kids absolutely loved it. And I tell this little story about how we had a tiny little library. It was a public library, not like one of the boxes. This was an actual building, but it was a very small public library in our town when my kids were little. And they had a bunch of VHS tapes that they were still letting people check out. And we still had a VCR at that point. And they found the Ghostbusters VHS tape. And they loved it so much, they kept checking it out again and again. Well, the library was in the process of switching over to DVDs at the time. So when they got a new DVD, they gave my children the old VHS copy because we had checked it out so much. So
So
when-
you know the words to the movie.
yes. And I may have forgotten about some of the less than appropriate stuff for young children when my kids and I first watched it. Oh no. But it really just, some of that just went right over their heads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I even asked my son the other day, I said, "Oh, what's your favorite quote?" And he just looked at me as we were FaceTiming and said, "Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes." So it's nice to have that family connection there. And I actually polled at the end of last year, because as some of you know, I know some folks here participated in As You Wish from
Mhm.
last year. I sent out a poll through my newsletter. So people subscribing to my newsletter got that. And I gave some suggestions, and Ghostbusters won by, you know, pretty good margin. So I thought, okay,
Give the people what they want.
Yep.
that's right. But I have lots of ideas for the next few years too.
Oh, cool. Yep. Polls are good for that, aren't they?
Are.
So where does your designing name, Lyrical Knits, come from?
I'm a singer too. I sing in various choirs, and music is one of my other loves. I love knitting, I love cooking, and I love to sing. And it was actually a friend of mine who came up with Lyrical Knits. And I thought, wow, that was just a really great idea, and something zinged. So we went with that.
Nice and easy. Yeah.
And sometimes I'll name a pattern after a song lyric or inspired by a song.
So what I really want to know is, have you always had a quirky sense of humor?
I think so.
Are your parents quirky?
No, my parents are not quirky at all. We don't find any of the same things funny. Maybe it comes from my living in a colder climate now. It's colder up here than Pittsburgh.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, I worked with a woman years ago who was the funniest, wittiest person. It was like working next to somebody doing stand-up. And I asked her, "Valerie, how do you do this? Do you just lie awake at night thinking of these silly jokes?" She's like, "No, I just have no filters, and I just go ahead and say the stupid funny things, and some of them are funny and some of them aren't."
We
Yeah,
don't know anybody like that here,
right.
do we?
No, we've got a couple of class clowns out there. So my husband, he wasn't necessarily a real jokey kind of person, but he was quick on his feet, and he always had a comeback to whatever anybody said. And I'd be like, "Ron, where did they come from?" Because I'm a really slow thinker, I think, and so anyway, I admire that ability for people to,
A clever retort. is
Yes,
appreciated.
right.
Yeah. We used to have a rule in my house that was like, if you had the comeback, you had to say it. You could apologize later, but you had to say it, as long as it
Oh,
wasn't me. Yeah, it couldn't be me. That made it.
I tend to think of the comebacks, an hour later.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, sometimes that happens for sure.
That's the great thing about writing. You can save them for later.
Mhm.
so what's your favorite design that you've ever come up with?
Boy, that's a tough one. I mean, I have favorite sweaters. I think my favorite overall design I'm wearing right now. Honestly, if that seems cheeky, but it's the Rickroll wrap,
Yep.
and it's almost all garter, but I just love how I put the buttonholes and how you can button it different ways and the
Right.
like, and that the colors work out.
And what I'm going to tell you is that color combination has probably been one of the most popular
Mm-hmm.
that we've ever had.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I cannot, it still sells well.
Wow. Yeah, it's this is Zombie Prom,
Mm-hmm.
Moss.
Right?
Yep.
See, this is Tulipa.
Well, I think we changed that to Wolfsbane, but it's
Yeah, same
still a
thing.
purple
Mhm.
and a fleur,
Yeah.
oyster,
Mhm.
something like that. Yeah.
Yep, that is sold consistently well, those four for the past 3 years. It's
4
crazy,
years,
4
something,
years,
yeah, whatever.
Wow.
Since that came out. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Never gonna give you up. No, sorry. Had to do it. Sorry.
Well, see, then I got to hide a link to that in a newsletter too.
That was fun. I remember that one.
Yep.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. So are there any secrets yet for the new knit along that starts next week, or do we just have to hold our breath and wait?
I will let one secret out because I have leaked it a little bit, that there are 4 colors, correct? And so there are colors 1 through 3, and then there's your contrasting color, and it's going to kind of like dance over the other 3. So I'm telling people, if there's one of their color 1, 2, or 3s that maybe doesn't mesh as well with the contrasting color as you like as the other 2 do, put that one as C2.
Helen's writing this.
Making a note.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, we have a couple of the sets behind the back.
Yes.
Other side. So yeah, so you can show what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Here's one set. This is Crossed Streams.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And see, that's one where you could use a couple different colors. You know what I mean? You have lots of choices for the contrasting color.
Mhm.
Right.
The dark one would work really well.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be a really good contrast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can we pin both of us?
Yeah, you can add a pin. Just go on you, go on us,
Oh, yeah.
and then add pin. There you go.
Okay.
There we are.
So this is Gatekeeper, and I would probably use this as the contrast, maybe.
Or the empty grass.
Either
Or,
yeah,
oh,
or the-
yeah, actually the
Yes.
anti-grass, which
Yeah.
is this one right here.
Mhm.
Either
So,
either one would work there.
yeah.
Mhm.
Our
Our surprisingly bestseller, Ecto One. It's a good seller.
Ecto One. And you could use any of those.
Basically, yeah.
So there's that. And then this is Mary's set, and it's my personal favorite.
Love this color.
And it's ectoplasmic residue. So it, and it's very wearable. I know that the hijinks is very bright, but it really is wearable when it gets meshed with the
Yeah, the
grays.
grays help tone it down and make it less screaming in your face and more nice pop color.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It's like that fleck of color on like an Oriental rug
Right.
that
Yeah.
it makes everything zing.
So these are some of the sets that we have. And of course, you know, if you've got yarn in your stash, I know none of you have any stash. You know, you may want to pick all or two and then get a couple of other colors.
Mhm.
And if you have questions about how to combine the colors, you can always give Callie a call on our
Regular phone or email.
yeah.
Yeah.
Email works as well, info@Miss Babs.
And also, yeah, the planning thread from your group on Ravelry, where people are talking about it already, getting excited, getting ready to go.
That's a great place to post some colors and ask, you know, which one do you think works best as the contrasting color? Or in one of our Facebook groups, because
Right.
people are asking in my Facebook group, and I've seen it come up in the Miss Babs Facebook group as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
So I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we move on in our agenda?
That the shawl is no bigger than usual this year, but I've broken it down into 6 clues to try and make it a little more manageable for people. People don't like getting too far behind, so I'm just trying to give everybody a chance to move forward a little bit. But you know, if you're a speedy knitter, because there are some folks who will finish the first clue by like that evening, like how did they do that?
Right, exactly.
That, you know, they could work on another project while they wait for the next one, while they wait for the rest of us to catch up.
Mhm.
So it's a 6-week.
It's 6 weeks, and I've got video tutorials for people, because it will be more of a festival of stitches sort of thing. So,
Cool.
so if you're a beginner, you're going to have a lot of support for that. I mean, I'd put this at a, you know, an intermediate beginner kind of thing. But if you're an advanced knitter, you'll probably still learn some new stitch patterns. And
Okay.
have
That sounds great. Sounds
Excellent.
great. We're looking forward to starting it and seeing how everybody's projects come along.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
seeing how all the different colors knit up.
mhm.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you, Mary. Does anybody have any questions for Mary before we let her go?
You can either unmute yourself or pop something in the chat if you do.
Everybody's being quiet. Okay. So,
Well, thanks for having me.
yes, thank you for,
It's lovely chatting with you.
yes. Okay, here we go. So other projects that have come out, other knit-alongs that are out there. One of them is Lisa Ross's, it's also Simply Fun, which is also a mystery knit-along. It uses 5 toes. This is Lisa's set of colors. And so it's a relative, I've actually started a little bit.
Oh, she gets
I'm
head
not
start.
yeah, I'm not very far along though, because I got caught up doing something else. So
Mhm.
this is my set and colors I like, and look good on me. I also love these colors. This is the Giggle set and has been incredibly popular. All three of these sets have been really popular. So there's that starts on
Hold on. Cast on date is March 2nd.
March 2nd. So it's
Okay.
coming up soon. Again, you can go in to your stash and find either toes or colors.
Leftovers.
Yeah,
Mhm.
partial leftovers. It's basically 3 dark colors and 2 lighter colors is what she recommends.
Mhm.
So that's what we have
Nice.
And she's
done.
designed this to be a smaller, quicker knit along than her normal big summer mystery knit alongs.
Right.
For people who want a smaller commitment or a smaller finished project.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So like Brighten Up was last year.
Right. And this will go into my pile of Christmas gifts. So I always like getting ahead on the whole Christmas thing. And let's see, Ronnie
Pop-Tart.
Casapinka has a
Non-poncho, I don't remember. what
yeah,
they call it.
non-poncho. Don't
Right.
call it a poncho, she says. And this is I don't know the exact order of these colors, but these are the colors are knockoff of the original set of colors. And this is in our K2.
Mhm.
And then actually our most popular set has been this, which is called,
They're just the names. We didn't name.
oh,
the
okay,
sets.
Okay.
okay.
So
So-
that one is the slate stonewashed camp mug navy quicksilver Pop-Tart set.
Right,
Mhm.
so, and would be great with jeans and weekend kind
Mhm.
of,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So,
You might notice, by the way, that this is K2, but these are smaller skeins than we've had in the past. And we thought this would be a great opportunity to switch to skeins to smaller size skeins so that they're more multicolor friendly for projects. And
this is hat size.
yeah, it's enough for a hat. It's still plenty. It's still 120 yards of
Right.
nice big yarn. So just thought we should mention that.
Yep. And then, oh my gosh, Stephen West.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And
So have any of you seen his new fragmentation shawl
so,
that just came out not that long ago?
right. And so, believe it or not, we have still been putting together fade sets, find your fade sets
Hmm.
for,
Ever.
8, 9, 10 years, however long.
yeah, I don't know how long it's been, but these actually sort of fit in that area because this is 7 skeins
Mhm.
of yarn. And so this is one of our sets that we put together. This is similar to one of the sets that he has, an example on his
Mhm.
Instagram. This is an actual find your fade, and this set has been selling actually pretty well as a fade, but would also work well for the fragmentation. And you can move these around. The fragmentation doesn't have to be in a fade setup.
Mhm.
Another set is this. We didn't bring any in here today, but we've also put some together in Yet.
Mhm.
And so the benefit of the Yet, which is a heavy lace weight, and when you substitute Yet into a fingering weight pattern, you need to go down typically just one needle size. But the Yet is less expensive. It's $10 less, I think, a skein.
Yeah.
So if you're talking 7 skeins, you're talking $70 less. So it's eminently more cost effective for many people. And so, but the Yet is one of my favorite yarns. Yet is one of my original yarns. I've had it around. It wears well. It looks lovely. So,
And it gets softer as you wear it.
right,
Mhm.
right. And it's a great yarn. So it's something to think about in terms of a yarn that can be substituted and would actually work really well in the structure of that project.
Mhm.
The other great thing about using Yet for big shawls and wraps is when you knit them, you want to wear them. And because Yet is slightly lighter weight, you
Right.
have more opportunity, especially for
Yeah.
large shawls like Stevens or a Find Your Fade, where if you wear 100% wool one that's a fingering weight and nice and squishy, it's gonna be really warm.
Right. And for those of us that live in the southern part of the
Mhm.
US that's warm, it extends the seasonality of the project.
And my favorite thing about it is it takes the color beautifully. It's got more silk, so it's really shiny. It's got some shine, and it's
Right.
it is, like you said, light and wearable and still warm at the same time.
Right.
I did want to note that on the website, we have 2 groupings for these sets, and they're all individual. So we've all been working on these, making them, having fun, going through all the colors, both in the Yet and in the 2-ply. And on the website, there's fragmentation shawl sets, and there also Find Your Fades. And if you look on the Find Your Fade, the fragmentations will show up there as well.
Right.
So there's, they're all there. The Yet ones and the 2-ply ones are all in the same place. So see what we come up with and see if there's anything you like. And if you have ideas, or if you're looking for something, or you have some yarn in your stash and you want to just add to it, you can always send us the email and we can help you pick colors too.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm sure there's more.
We have Neptune's Forces,
Yeah.
Right.
which I think we forgot to grab sets for, but that is a non-mystery knit along by 3 Bags Fold Criminal Knits.
4 colors.
That is a 4-toe, lovely little shawl.
Right.
Which I will link now in the chat. It does have a spoiler image first, but if you then scroll down that page, you can see the shawl itself.
Right. And Boo Knits Mystery Knit Along will start on March 1. And we talked about that last month.
Blockbuster.
Right, the Blockbuster. So I think that's all I can remember that we
It's a lot for right now.
yeah. But I'll tell you what, it's been fun going into the inventory room and pulling colors off for the sets. And it's actually, I've had a lot of fun pulling the fragmentation sets because I don't feel quite as constricted in terms of for the Find Your Fade. You want
a nice flow.
You tend to want a nice, and with the fragmentation, you actually want some change to occur between one color and another. So
or you can have fadey ones. I mean, it's
right.
As you look at Ravelry, the project pages, they're popping up like crazy, some from the test knitters and knitters, and you can see different ideas too.
Right.
It's been fun. It's been really fun just putting the colors together. I mean, I've enjoyed it too. So yeah, and it's really fun because it's like, oh, look, there it is in yarn winding. Haha. And the thing that's neat is they're pretty much one of a kind. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
That's
you.
all right.
They're pretty like we're doing one at a time making them. So
Right.
if you see them, that's, you know, you're probably going to be the only one with that one, maybe two. That's about it.
So just so you know, next week we have a newsletter coming out, and in that newsletter will be our winter, spring collection of patterns. And so those will all be going to Stitches West, and all the new colors will be going to Stitches West, but the colors will also be available on the website. So that's what's coming. And there's some nice patterns in this collection, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Helen's authored a few of them.
yep.
There are a couple in there. Yep.
So
Do you want to talk about our technique, or do you want to talk about, we'll do that first and then we'll do your show and tell. How about that?
which show and tell?
Your show and tell.
Oh,
What are
okay.
you working on
Yes,
over there?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The technique corner, we said we would start adding technique. And so what we're going to talk about today is the garter stitch. I know most of us started with the garter stitch, and we wanted just to talk about why the garter stitch is so useful in so many ways. And in part, it's good because it makes a fabric that is bouncy and it doesn't curl at the edge. So that's something that is really handy.
For coming, like for a modular knit like this, it's or, you know, some of those log cabin type of blankets and things. Garter stitch is great because you can actually make the squares fit together, because every 2 rows. Keep going.
I was just gonna say, and for those who may be wondering, this is boxes
Boxes
and
and-
towers.
Right.
Kirsten Cooper knit in the boxes and towers.
Yeah, it's
Yasmin
a mini
instead of
set.
6, but it can be knit in any 6. Yeah.
Colors.
Yep, this one's a fun one.
But it really is a good use of the garter stitch. The other thing, it's also good in an edging because the edgings won't curl.
And it gives something a little bit of weight. Like for example, the Sempervirens pattern that Veronica designed has a big garter stitch band, which gives the whole garment a nice balance, a nice
At the
feel
bottom.
At the
And
bottom.
it's a good alternate for ribbing if you don't want the edge to draw in. So I'll often use a garter stitch edging on shawls because, you know, I don't want a 3-stitch ribbing edging that just kind of looks silly there.
Right,
But you can have a 3-stitch garter stitch edging and it looks fine.
right. So
It's
hitchhiker,
awesome.
and
My
you know,
all-time fave.
yeah,
yes.
many of us have knit one or more hitchhikers. I think I've probably knit.
Over 20.
6 or
Really?
7.
I would say so. There was a time when, you know,
Oh.
when your life was
Yep.
totally nuts and you just knew the pattern and
Right,
you
that's
just wanted
true.
something easy.
Right.
We have so many hitchhikers.
So this is perfectly reckless. And it is the thing about the hitchhiker and the garter stitch is that it allows the colors to be all mixed up.
Mhm.
And it shows the colors off in a nice way. And sometimes, and you don't get particularly much flashing. So flashing is
A
when,
little bit right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, where it pools.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
But otherwise it tends to move the colors around.
Mhm.
And
Because the pearl bumps show from the row below, so it gives it that
Right.
nice blending of the colors.
so and it actually goes with my,
Yeah, it does.
Good
Look at
choice.
you, matchy matchy.
but it, you know, this shawl can be worn with any number of colors.
Mhm.
And, you know, so basically, if you have a variegated skein in your stash and you're like, oh my God, I've tried it, I've knit it, I've frogged it, what am I going to do with it? Doing a garter stitch shawl of one form or another is often a good way to use it up and
Mhm.
make, that skein that you fell in love with at a show or on the website. It just makes it very useful.
This was one skein Yowza project. Hitchhiker is my palette cleanser go-to when I'm in between projects and just need to knit, just want that
Right.
knitting time and that feel. But didn't have a real, a heady project in mind. Something I
Right.
needed to really think about. So, yeah. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about garter stitch a little bit today is like, when I first learned to knit, it was just say no to garter stitch. Like, it was like, no, don't use garter stitch. But I have come to really love and appreciate it
Yeah,
over time.
I think when you're learning, people try to push you out of it because there's often a tendency to get in a rut
Mhm.
where you learn to knit, but you don't learn to purl for the first month. And then all you're doing is garter stitch and you're so much more comfortable knitting. So you're encouraged to get out of that rut.
Right.
But once you're comfortable with both stitches, it's absolutely wonderful to bring it back into your repertoire. And,
Mhm.
there's even the posthumous Elizabeth Zimmerman book, Knit One, Knit All, which is entirely
Right.
a celebration of her garter stitch patterns. And if anyone knows how to make knitting do what they want, it's Elizabeth Zimmerman. And the fact
Right.
that she used it so often
Mhm.
shows how versatile it is.
Yep. If you have ever knitted a baby surprise.
Well, I was just going to say a baby surprise jacket, but also the baby blankets that go from
Corner to corner.
corner to corner is a great use of garter stitch.
Yeah.
And it works for babies and it works for the mothers and it keeps them warm and cozy.
Yeah.
It really does a good job.
So look at us going
Speaking
on.
of Yowza, I've knit quite a few corner to corner one
Mhm.
skein of Yowza baby blankets for cousins. And they say it's a great size, that one skein, for like a stroller or just putting over the baby, but not
Right.
over you when you're holding the baby and don't want to be warm, but want the baby covered. So I've been pleased that that's been a good size for people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
Does anybody have anything they wanted to share about garter stitch? I'm laughing because it's garter stitch.
Well, we can go ahead and turn off the
Right.
recording so that people can feel free
Okay.
to start
Sure.
okay.
sharing. Let me
Okay.
maybe
Time
figure out
for
where
show
that
and tell.